Yes, China has left Europe behind, and it is now difficult for the United States to unite its allies to sanction China. Recently, German media has begun to worry about China's rapid development and the potential serious impact of the confrontation between China and the United States on Germany. Germany's second television station has set its sights on the burgeoning electric vehicle sector. They have discovered that domestically produced Chinese electric vehicles are rapidly outpacing traditional German car manufacturers. Chinese car companies have made significant investments in this new field, and the intelligence of the Chinese people has been fully utilized. In this new arena, the Chinese are not constrained by various traditional limitations and restrictions and can fully unleash their potential. For example, Chinese domestically produced electric vehicles, which only cost a few $100,000, have interior designs comparable to European and American luxury cars worth millions, as well as various high-tech configurations. In the eyes of European designers, this is simply absurd, but young Chinese buyers love it and do not consider European and American standards to be authoritative. In comparison, German car manufacturers are not only lagging behind in this field but also falling behind in terms of concepts, and they hope to cooperate with Chinese manufacturers. Furthermore, the confrontation between China and the United States has led to a tense escalation in the situation in the Taiwan Strait. Germany is not only concerned about losing the vast market of 1.4 billion people in China but also worried about the outbreak of war in the Taiwan Strait. The Taiwan Strait is one of the most important international waterways in the world, and Germany believes that 50% of global shipping passes through the Taiwan Strait. If a war were to break out in this area, the global economy would be severely affected, and Germany, as a major economic power, would undoubtedly be affected. Additionally, Chinese companies are currently the most important suppliers for Germany. Now, German shipping companies are planning to stop ordering ships from Chinese shipbuilders. The biggest alternative is South Korea, but it seems that South Korea also wants to get involved in the Taiwan Strait dispute, which is not safe. Moreover, in terms of cost-effectiveness, China is still the best option. Germany's policy towards China has undergone a significant transformation. They once wanted to decouple from China but later realized that forcibly decoupling would be suicidal. Although it is evident that their government is not willing to improve relations with China, they have no choice. The United States will not help Germany to develop markets, and Germany also feels that it cannot do without China. Even now, the three parties in Germany's ruling coalition have significant differences in their policies towards China. A large number of German politicians still insist on demanding that the government stand in opposition to China, even at the cost of decoupling. However, this has truly left the German government in a dilemma, with losses, differences, and risks. The current German government has reached a difficult crossroads. It is said that in June of this year, Germany and China will hold consultations to discuss the thorny issue of China once again. What will be the next step in handling the relationship with China? The Germans must find a consistent stance for themselves. If they continue to follow the United States, Germany will ultimately suffer unbearable pain. Yes, many practical issues require Germany to calm down and face them on their own. Recently, the German media Bild published a long article titled "Chinese Cars Crushing Europe," which truly expresses the feelings and anxieties of the Germans. China is making life increasingly difficult for the European automotive industry, both in China and in Europe. In Germany, the market share of Chinese electric car brands has quadrupled. According to the Federal Statistical Office, this proportion was 28.2% in the first quarter, compared to 7.8% in the same period last year. Not long ago, it was unimaginable that even Mercedes-Benz dealers now have to include brands from the Far East in their product portfolio. The future looks bleak for European car manufacturers. According to a new study, China is a pioneer in electric car technology and is certain to gain a huge market share in the coming years. This is already obvious. In 2022, 3 of the best-selling electric cars in Europe were imported from China. For example, Dacia's Spring, which may be a brand from Romania, but this small electric car is produced in China. Of the 90 electric car models currently available in Germany, 19 are exclusively produced in China. According to Allianz's research, it is becoming increasingly clear that China recognized the potential of electric cars 15 years ago. Over the past 15 years, Chinese manufacturers have invested in building a competitive electric car ecosystem. The results are clear. In 2022, the number of electric cars sold in China was more than twice the total sales in Europe and the United States. Bild presented a series of data to express the astonishing development speed of the Chinese automotive industry. About 80% of electric cars produced by Chinese car manufacturers are sold in China, which has long been the world's largest car market. Therefore, domestic Chinese brands are rapidly increasing their market share, from less than 40% in 2020 to nearly 50% in 2022. Conversely, European car manufacturers are losing significant market share in China. In 2022, only one of the top 20 electric car sales in China was produced by a Sino-European joint venture. According to the Federal Statistical Office, overall exports of cars and car parts to China decreased by 23.9% in the first quarter of 2023. Volkswagen has just announced the launch of a new sub-brand in China to attract young customers. Currently, the best-selling Volkswagen model in China is still the Levita, a classic traditional sedan, not a trendy electric car. If you look at the top 10 electric cars currently sold in China, you will be surprised. BYD is far ahead, followed closely by Tesla. BMW is the only German company to squeeze into the top 10, ranking 9th. It is estimated that if Chinese imports gain a 10% market share in Europe, the European automotive industry will lose approximately €24 billion by 2030, and this figure does not include supplier losses. The development speed of the Chinese automotive industry is astonishing. It has been less than 20 years since the first Chinese car appeared at a trade fair in Germany. Today, brands such as BYD, NIO, and MG are entering the world market, showing the old world's established manufacturers what they are capable of. Alternatively, they are doing so through mergers and acquisitions, such as Geely Group, which already includes Volvo and Lotus. At the same time, as a major shareholder of Mercedes-Benz, Geely is consolid. The article concludes with a forecast and outlook for the future. Chinese brands have long understood how to gain a foothold in the homeland of automobiles. The first electric station wagon, Electrocombi, does not come from Volkswagen or Opel, but from the Chinese brand MG5, with a 7-year warranty. The professionalism of Chinese brands is also reflected in their online presence. For example, anyone clicking on BYD's About Us will quickly realize their potential. Chinese brands are moving from battery manufacturers to car manufacturers, while European competitors are attempting the opposite, from car manufacturers to battery producers. Whether they will succeed is met with skepticism by experts at Allianz. In a few years, customers will only need electric cars and will abandon traditional gasoline vehicles. Experts believe that in a few years, the majority of electric cars on the market will come from China regardless of whether they bear the logo of a Chinese, American, or European brand.